Hello everyone, welcome. This is one of the videos I am going to be uploading on this channel, which is geared towards the teaching of the computing subjects in the standard-based curriculum which was introduced by NACA recently. Alright, so by popular request, we are going to start with this lesson, which is the strand 4, which is the computational thinking. Right. Since the curriculum is based from basic 7 to basic 9, especially for the junior high school level, these lessons are going to be tackled class by class basis. So, taking the new curriculum in the basic 7 subjects for computing, we are going to look at one of the most interesting topics, which is computational thinking. And under that, we look at the substrand introduction to programming. This video is going to tackle the basic 7.4.1.1.1 indicator, which says we should demonstrate the correct use of programming technologies and then list them in alphabetical order and then explain each of the terminologies. Right. So without wasting much time, let's go on to our lesson. Great. So let's quickly go on to the concepts of computer programming. So, computer programming is the process of creating instructions for the computer to follow. It involves writing code in specific languages that the computer can understand and execute. Great. So, the computer as a machine understands the language zeros and ones. The way you have a language you understand to be Twi, English, French, Ga, and the rest, the computer also has its own language it understands, which is what? Zeros and ones. So for us to be able to communicate with the computer, to do what we want it to do, like clicking and then watching of videos, we need to communicate with it. And the act of communicating with it, we also need to use what we call programming languages. And these languages is what helps us to communicate with the computer. Example of such language, we have the Java, PHP, assembly language, and the rest. So these instructions that we use the languages for can be very simple or complex, depending on the task. And it also allows us to the software to operate successfully. All right. So let's look at some of the terminologies involved. One, we look at an algorithm. What is an algorithm? An algorithm is a step-by-step set of instructions which is used to solve a problem or perform a task. So a typical example of an algorithm will be, let's say, how to cook, right? So let's quickly bring out Notepad and then write a simple algorithm. And mind you, from the definition, it said it is a step-by-step procedure. So let's quickly look at it. Step one of an algorithm is always the beginning. So we begin. In an algorithm, we start or we begin and then we finish, right? So if you write an algorithm, you need to be able to begin it, and then the last step is when you finish it. So step two, maybe we get step two of preparing our food will be getting the ingredients. Then step three will be getting the utensils. Then step four will be wash ingredients. Sorry. So step four will be wash and prepare ingredients. Great. Sorry. Ingredients. Then maybe step 5 will be dish out your food. Please don't follow my procedure to prepare your food, otherwise your food will be bad. Okay, so this is just to demonstrate how to use an algorithm in a step-by-step procedure to perform your tasks. Okay, then as I said, you need to start and finish. So even if your step 5 is the dishing out of your food, meaning your food is ready, you still need to bring out the last step, which is to do what? Finish. Yes, so this is a simple way of writing your algorithm in a step-by-step procedure. Then look at the second part of our lesson, which is API. So API is an acronym for Application Programming Interface. What are they? API is a set of rules and tools that allow different software applications to communicate with each other. So tech companies like Facebook and Google actively use APIs. So what do we mean by actively communicating? Let's take a look at let's go to one of the popular online learning platforms where you can use to learn coding, right? We have Udemy. So let's go to Udemy and I'll use that website to demonstrate an API. So Udemy is a website on its own which builds their own database to be able to get details of their users. So if you come here, it says sign up and start what? Learning. Let's say users don't want to go through this procedure. Like you see some of these websites, these ones are very simple. And you see these forms, so that means you have to go through a lot of process to sign up. So we have something we call API, which allows people who have already created Google accounts or Facebook accounts to be able to create their Udemy account without filling this form. So that is made possible by an API. So what will happen is that Udemy created their own API, Google also created their API, and then they use it to communicate. So this option here, when I click on it, realize that it brings out all the Google accounts I have on this machine, meaning that I can use any of these Google accounts to create the account straight away without filling this form. Maybe I'm not ready to type. So that's what we call API. It helps applications to communicate. Remember, Google is a different application, a different company. Udemy is also a different company. So they don't have the same database, but you're able to use your Google account to quickly log in or create an account on this platform because you have a Google account. And just Google using their API, giving their API to Udemy, they can be able to use it to do what? Create an account on this Udemy platform. And that is how APIs are used. And it's really making the programming world very simple. And then we look at arguments. So an argument is a value passed to a function or program when it's called. So it's like giving a specific information to a robot to complete a task. So let's see how, let's write a simple program in JavaScript, right? Using an online compiler. We will know what a compiler is in a few minutes. It's one of the terminologies. Great. So let's write a simple program to demonstrate an argument. So we are going to write a program to calculate the area of a circle. So create a constant for pi, which is 3.142. Yes. Then we also create another variable and we'll call it radius. We need a radius for calculation. So maybe let's say 4. The radius of the circle is 4. Then the area will be what? Pi times radius times, which is the r squared, right? So we will have to multiply the radius 2 times. Then we call out this function. So console.log the area of the circle is, then we have to add the area, right? So it's area. So when we run this program, we will have an answer of 50.27, and that is the argument we created here. We created an argument area to do what? Multiply the pi and multiply the radius and multiply the radius again. So after that, we created the console.log to bring out our answer. So this becomes the argument in our code. And anytime we change the number, the argument will also change. Right. So we are creating an argument for this program, this simple code, to create a specific answer for us based on what we have given, the values we have given it. So that is what we mean by, so an argument is a value. So we pass the value of 3.142 and 7 so to allow us to be able to do what? Get the required results we want. Then we look at an array. So an array is a data structure that stores multiple items of the same type in a contiguous what? Block. So let's also look at an array using a JavaScript. Great. So let me remove this. Let me clear this one here. Great. So let's create an array. So in an array, we also create another variable and name it numbers, right? Then we'll assign arrays to them. So 23, 28, 45. We separate them with commas, 67, and then maybe 89. Great. Then we also create another one. Sorry, this is not supposed to be here. We create another one variable. Let's say fruits equals. Let's create another one. Apple. Wait, it's supposed to be outside. Apple. Orange. Grapes. Wait, it's supposed to be in quotes. Grapes. And let's say another fruit, kiwi. Good. So let's close this. Then now let's output what we mean by an array. So console.log, we want to pass out one of the arrays. So maybe fruits, then what? So when we run this code, sorry, this equal sign is not supposed to be here. You're right. So that's called an exception. We'll look at that later. So you see, we call that the second in the array of fruits. So this here is a simple array, right? They contain the same group of data, which are what? Fruits. So an array works starting from the letter 0. So if you are wondering why grapes is showing here, it starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So if we write another code, if you write another code to call out, let's say the numbers, then we pick out maybe 4. What do you think the number which is going to show? Let's guess. Great, you are right, 89. So 89 is going to show because it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 89 showing here. So that's how we use array in programming. And a typical example is your Facebook like button. You realize that now when you click on the like button, it lists other emojis you can use, the laughing and the prayer one. So in case maybe you want to use the like button, they are all in an array. So if you click on the like button takes the 0 index. That means when you click on the like button, that's the one which is going to show. Or if you click on the other one there, those things have been listed in an array. And that is how it is used in programming. Very simple. Great. Let's continue and look at ASCII. So ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. What is it? It's a character encoding standard that assigns numerical values to letters, numbers, and symbols. Yes, so when you are coding, I remember I told you that the computer understands only zeros and then ones. So for we all able to code for the computer to understand this, the Americans came up with the ASCII code, which is used globally. And what do we mean by that? Every symbol, every letter has been assigned their number in base 10, which is further converted into base 2 for the computer to understand. So if you look at the exclamation sign, it is giving the number 33. If you look at the space bar, which is empty like this, it has the number 32. If you look at the capital letter A, it has the ASCII code 65. If you look at the small letter A, it has the ASCII code 97. So this is how the ASCII code was used, which allows people to be able to do what? Program, especially in the assembly language that was normally used. Then it is converted back into how do you call it, zeros and ones. So this is in base 10, and then it is further converted into zeros and ones. So whenever you click the letter A, it goes through that process for the computer to be able to do what? Use your bring out the A that you are typing. And then Boolean. Boolean is a data type. We'll look at data type into details in the next lesson. That has only two possible values, true or false. It is named after mathematician George Boole, and it's used for what? Logical operations. So let's demonstrate how Booleans work. So let's quickly do away with this one too, and then clear this. So let's say we want to use want to create a program to check if somebody is below 18 years. So we will create if age is less than or equal to what? If age is less than or equal to 16, then what should happen? The person's age should say what? So console.log, then what should happen? You are under age. Yes, so we can close this. Then what if the person is above that? They bring another one. Else console.log, you are an adult. So let's run this program. Now we are using 14. Sorry, this was 17. So we are using 14. So let's run this program and see which one will work. You are underage. And this is possible because of this expression here. This is a Boolean expression. It is checking whether something is uh, correct, true, or false. So this here is checking whether the person is 14 years. Sorry, the person is below 17 years. If the person is below 17 years, then this one will work. You are underage. So what happens if we change this to 19? Then let's run. So it checked using the same Boolean expression, the less than or equal to, and realized that no, it was above 17. Then it will come and pick the else, which is what you are an adult. So that's how we use Boolean expressions. So we have different types of Boolean expressions. We have the double equal sign to show something is the same. And we also have the less than or equal to, as I showed here. We also have the greater than or equal to. We also have the not equal to. Yes, so these are some of the Boolean expressions we can use. Great. Then we look at a bug. So a bug is an error or flaw in a program that causes it to produce incorrect results or behave unexpectedly. Now let me do something quickly here to show you what I mean by a bug. So I'm going to put the less than just in front of the equal sign. Let me run my code and see. It's telling me what? Error, right? So because of this simple change of position that I didn't do well, the whole code is not working again. It is telling me unexpected token because that's not where it's supposed to be. So if you are able to use an application or a website without it breaking, you are supposed to use, maybe you go on TikTok and you are watching and it's working all the time. You should thank the programmer because every part of the code is working. If even a simple part of the code, right, like just I've done here, just exchanging this for this is out, the code will not work. So that is how what we mean by an error. And normally we call it a computer bug, right? It doesn't let the program do what it's expected to do. So the act of correcting your error or bug in your program is called debugging. The act of correcting your program is called debugging. Yes, so when you're able to correct an error in your code, then you have been successfully debugged your code. Then what do we mean? Yes, the second one is the next one is character, or in a simple form, we call it char. It's another type of data type. So we'll discuss data type in details in our next lesson. So data type, char is short for character. It's a data type that represents a single letter or symbol. So a single letter or symbol. So if I do the letter A in quotes, that is a character. If I do the symbol dollar sign in quotes, that is a character, right? Immediately I increase it and do it two letters. It is no more a character. It is a string. And as I said, we will discuss that in our next video. So characters are just single letters or symbols. All right. We look at the next, which is code. Yes. A code is a set of instructions written in a programming language that tells a computer what to do. So the programming language we are using here is JavaScript. So as you can see here, JavaScript online compiler. And this is a simple code. So what is it telling this computer to do? It is telling this computer to check if somebody is below 18 years or the person is what, above 18 years. So this a simple code we have been able to write here. So a code, as we said, tells the computer what to do. So we are telling the computer to check this thing for us if somebody is underage or an adult. Great. Then we also look at command line interface. Yes, command line interface is a text-based interface where users interact with the computer by typing commands. So you realize that whatever I'm doing here, I'm just clicking away, opening my notepad, clicking, and opening settings and clicking. When you use the command prompt, you don't click, you only type whatever you want to type. So you can access your command line interface using command prompt. So just by going to your search bar and doing CMD, your command prompt will open, right? So when you open it, you get this interface, which is command line interface. Everything here you do it by testing. So you can interact with it by just doing color. You can change the color by just typing the color command. Yes, to change the color. You can also open notepad by just typing notepad.exe. Then you see a notepad application is opened. That's how you can use your command prompt, and most programmers normally interact with it mostly. Instead of using the graphical user interface, which we normally know as the GUI, some also use the command line interface. And both interfaces allows you to interact with the operating system. Yes. So we look at the next, which is the compilation. Yes. the process of converting human readable source code into machine readable code that a computer can execute. So anytime you download something from online to install, right? So a typical example is this program we have here, composer dot what exe. This is a simple example of a compiled program. So if I click on it will tell me that install. Yes, because this program has been compiled into an executable program. So anytime you see a program with an extension .exe, then it can be installed as a program because it has been compiled. Then conditionals. Conditionals are statements in programming that allow different actions based on whether a condition is true or false. So the if else statement is an example. Yes, we demonstrated it using the age code, right? So if and what else. So if the person is 19 years, you realize that we get the result, you are an adult. If the person is 10 years, then we run our code, you get what? You are underaged. So it is used to check something. We are checking whether the person is above age or below age. So if and then else. So this is a simple conditional using what? JavaScript programming. We look at data types. Yes. So data types are tells the computer how to interpret and what use information. So common types include integers, floating point, numbers, strings, and Boolean. So we'll do data types into details in the next video, but let me use this to explain it briefly here. So this is an integer, it's a number, right? The number 10. Immediately I put a point 1 in front of it, it ceases to be an integer. It becomes a what? A float. And we will look at that into more details later on in the next video. And this is a string because it is a group of letters or words that has been put into code. You realize that anytime I use letters, they are put into code, except when it has been declared as a variable. Great. So this is an integer, this is a string, and then we have float and the rest. So we'll look at more of those in the next video. Then we look at declaration. A declaration is the art of introducing a new variable, function, or other element in a program. So this is a new variable that we declared, age. That is why this this code didn't see this as strange because I've declared age as a variable, right? To give it what? 10. And don't be worried about this let. It's the same as variable in JavaScript. Great. So let me remove this code from there by commenting it out and run and see what will happen. You see, it is giving me an error because age is not defined. Yes, age has not been declared. That is why this code is giving me an error. So to be able to get it correct, I have to declare age as a variable and give it a number. Then I'll run it. Then you see it's working perfectly. So that's what I mean by declaration. Then exception, an event that occurs during program execution that disrupts the normal flow of instruction. So exceptions are just like the errors, but with the errors like this one, you see when let me remove this and run the code. You see this is a whole error, but then again, if I remove this from there, console.log from there, and run this code, I'm also getting an error. Uh, so an error works just like the exception. There are some times where your code will run, it will not show an error, but then again, you realize that it is not getting you the required results. Okay, so that is how exceptions also work in programming. Then we look at expression. So an expression is a combination of values, variables, and operators that can be evaluated to produce a result. So this is a typical example of an expression. Variable age is equal to 10, right? So you realize that it's like a mathematical equation in programming. So this is a declaration of a variable. We named it age. We've learned declaration already. And the whole thing here is referred to what? An expression. So when you are able to declare a variable and give it and assign a value to it, then it becomes a what? An expression. Great. Then we look at a program. So a program is a complete set of instructions that perform a specific task when executed by a computer. It's the final product of programming. Yes, like a fully assembled machine ready to run. So we are currently using one of the programs, which is the PowerPoint, and there are lots of programs that we normally interact with. Great. So that is how we use a program after it has been put together in a final product for you users to interact with. That's what we refer to as what? A program. So that is the end of the first indicator. We'll discuss the next indicator, which is the data types. We will do that into more details in our next video. Thank you.